These are the greatest shoes for any athletes that are trying to get faster. I know that actually this is just a foam roller, but this is what they come in. Isn't that crazy? There's a lot to unpack with these shoes, but we're just gonna start with the design. So the upper is just a nice knitted upper, super duper comfy on your feet. And so is the tongue. It's a super tight knitted upper that's, you know, woven into the darker blue here, which I really like. It just gives the shoe a really clean design. And now moving into the foam, so the cushion part of the shoe, the forefoot here is really thick. It looks like there's two different layers of foam. You can see it kind of separated between the light and the dark blue here. But as we travel to the back, the foam gets thinner. So when you're standing in them, your foot's set like this. And there's a lot of science behind that, and we'll get into that a little bit later, why the shoe's built like that. But when we flip it over to the bottom, you can see the traction pattern there, pretty good. And there's a ton of rubber here on the bottom, all covered up, pretty thick too. As you guys can see, I've already done some running in them. But I can tell that this rubber is gonna last a long time. As we travel to the back here, you guys can see that there's just two little patches of rubber, and not much rubber is needed back here because you're not gonna be really sprinting on your heels. The whole point's to be running on your toes, you know? And then if you look there in the middle, this is my favorite part of the shoe, and that is the carbon fiber. Hopefully I can get you guys a good view, but you can see the carbon fiber weave there. And this runs through the whole plate of the shoe. And what the carbon fiber does, I know that a lot of people think it's just for looks and it's light and whatnot, but it gives you a really springy feeling. When I first started sprinting in these shoes, you could just feel the spring in them. It just felt like you're almost floating. I guess that's the feeling that I could give you. Little effort put in, but you just feel like you're moving pretty fast. I guess that's a good way to describe it. So I just think that was a super great touch by them. The laces are pretty basic. I'll get into the cons later, but the laces is one of them. And then a cool part though is if we pull out the insole, they are pretty basic insoles. Here, let me get the other one too, so I can kind of show you guys. But they have some pretty cool designs. So on, what is this? This is the right foot. They have kind of like a foresty tree kind of look. And then on the left side, it's like ocean colors with like mountains and birds, which I think is just, you know, a cool touch. Most insoles for shoes will just be, you know, one basic solid color, but I kind of like that they added some cute designs on these. It's the little things, honestly. Oh, yeah, and then when I look on the inside, there's like these little birds on the bottom. They do super good with like the little touches here, I'm not gonna lie. If we flip it around to the back, this is arguably the most questionable thing they put on the shoes. And it's like these little wings they have on the back. I mean, I see what they're trying to go for here, like little pull tabs so you can, you know, pull these things onto your heel. But I honestly just think it makes them look a little bit funny. I don't know why. I don't know what they could do to like, you know, fix it or make it look cooler, but not my favorite part of the shoe. But honestly, I do love the colors. Blue, you know, different tones of blue are my favorite. I mean, I don't know why I'm showing you my shirt. This thing's green, but I do love blue. It is by far my favorite color. But if that blue isn't really floating your boat, they do have another color, and it's kind of like a whitish beige color. And I almost went with those because I was like, huh, you know what? I could wear those to my job or wear them around town or whatever. But after doing a sprint session in these, I realized that is not what they're for whatsoever, because these are meant for like high intensity sprint training. And wearing these to your job or walking around would be like wearing soccer cleats to the mall. It just, you know, wouldn't make sense because that's not what they're meant for. But I think this color's sick. This is definitely my go-to choice. Now getting into the cons of these shoes, there isn't very many, but they're important. And we'll start with kind of the weaker one, which is the lacing. I don't like the way that these come. I'll kind of show you guys. Some people do this and like it's okay because you can kind of redo the laces yourself, but they kind of do it backwards to where the inside, you're pulling on the inside, and it kind of just doesn't work super well when you're trying to tighten your shoes. You know, most laces will end by coming out, so that way you can kind of pull them like this, and it locks down the shoes much better. You guys can see that it really locks up that shoe. But with these ones, all it's doing is kind of pulling the fabric apart. Look at that. And that's what I really don't like, because it doesn't tighten the shoes. It just literally pulls the fabric apart. So you kind of have to pull them across, and then they finally kind of tighten. That's just kind of a pet peeve of mine. I might be a little bit more picky on that than most people, but that's just something I didn't really love about the shoes. Another thing about these is they give me blisters, which is crazy because I never get blisters from any new shoe that I'll wear. Like these shoes I bought, and then like 2 days later, I hadn't worn these. I had a race ran 6 miles in them, didn't give me a blister whatsoever. So the fact that these shoes give me blisters is a little bit concerning, but I broke them out of the box, instantly went sprinting in them. So like most shoes, I'm sure they require a break-in. So I'm not too worried about them giving me blisters in the long run, but for the short term, it kind of sucks. Another con, like I was saying earlier, is the little wings. I mean, I think, you know, I kind of like the idea with what they were going with, but it's not my favorite part about them. And then probably the last thing for me is these shoes aren't the best looking shoes just because it's like super thick up here and then thin back here. They're not totally symmetrical with the foam on the bottom, which I don't love, but you know, that's just me being super nitpicky because that is not the point of the shoes. Obviously there's gonna be more foam up here because they want that toe elevation. And now we're gonna get into why they actually have the toe elevated on the shoe, because there's some interesting science behind it that I think you guys are gonna wanna learn. It's crazy how much technology they have packed into this shoe. So I'll kind of show you guys right now. Right here, it says 4-strike, if it doesn't focus on my face. But what the 4-strike is, so it says it's enabled by our forefoot gain and heel gain technology. And what the forefoot gain is it provides a negative heel to toe drop between 8 to 10 millimeters based on sizing. And 8 to 10 millimeters doesn't seem like a lot, but you can feel it like a ton. Because 8 to 10 millimeters in shoes is a big difference. So it's pretty crazy. So the next bit of technology they have in these babies is the Helix heel counter here. It's just this big piece of plastic with the wings on the back. And what this is supposed to do is to lock in your heel and reduce the shoe's friction on the Achilles tendon. And I like the idea behind it, but this is actually a con I should have mentioned a minute ago. And it's that this doesn't work super well because I noticed my heel was slipping a lot in these shoes. These shoes do fit perfect and I had them on super tight. But I did notice a lot of heel slippage in there, and that's what caused the blistering. And Antepes, if you're watching, I do have a little tip for that to kind of fix that. And soccer cleats do it sometimes too, and they put little gel bits on the inside of the shoe. And what that does is just grip the socks and allows your heel to slip a lot less. So that's like the one major criticism I would have of the shoe. And now to my favorite part, it's the carbon fiber. So on their website, it says their forespring plate is a dual flex carbon fiber plate that is more flexible in the forefoot and a lot more rigid under the arch in the heel. And the last thing that they did, I honestly think it's super genius, and I wouldn't have known about it unless I read it on their website, but they have dual density TPE foam, which is really high quality foam. And I'll show you guys right here, but you have the dark blue and the light blue foam. The dark blue is a lot denser and harder foam. And then up here on the light blue, it's a lot more squishy. So it gives you maximum comfort and performance. So I think that was a great touch. So I was saying to you guys earlier how these shoes have a negative heel to toe drop just like track spikes. And there's a great reason for that. So when you're running track and you're doing sprints, you don't want that heel touching the ground. You want the most minimal amount of contact time possible to get down the track as fast as you can. And with these shoes, it's perfect because when you're sprinting, you don't want your heel touching the ground at all. And that becomes an issue when you try and sprint in regular shoes like these with a positive heel to toe drop, meaning that the heel's higher than the toe. So when you sprint, your heel naturally drops and this part of the shoe ends up touching the ground, which is not a good thing because that ends up taking the load off your Achilles and calf and doesn't allow for maximum spring coming off the ground. But with these shoes, it allows it and you just get a greater bounce off the ground. At least that's kind of what I feel when I'm doing it. And it does just feel great. And when I'm doing my sprints, I'm just fully fatigued afterwards and I do feel it in my calf and my butt and my Achilles. Not like a bad Achilles feeling, but it's a, you know, it's a good Achilles feeling that I haven't felt in a while because I haven't done a lot of sprinting. I'm kind of a retired soccer player and I really haven't sprinted much since I got out of it a couple years ago, but I really want to become a faster player. And these are going to be my key along with, you know, working out in the gym. And about that, these shoes are not to be sprinted in every day. It's kind of like, you know how when you go to the gym, you know, maybe you hit bench press one day and you hit, you know, chest and tris, whatever. You don't do it again the next day. You might switch to a different exercise. And that's exactly how these are supposed to be used. Maybe you sprint in them like every third day or whatever because your body needs time to recover. So I just wanted to let you guys know that because, you know, you might strain some muscles if you're training in these things every day. So if you guys are a player that is looking to get faster, it doesn't matter what sport you're in, whether it's soccer, football, basketball, Could be anything, or, you know, obviously track. But if you guys are one of those players, these shoes would be a great investment. They are a little bit pricey. They come in right now at about $160. But they are worth every penny because they are gonna help you get to that next level. You know, weight training is great, you know, working out your legs, you're gonna need that to get stronger. But the best way to get fast is to sprint fast. Yeah, so the best way to train to get better at something is to do that thing. So that is what I've been doing lately, and honestly, it has helped quite a bit. And I've only used these shoes once, and it was a great experience. A lot better than these shoes. So if you guys are running in shoes like this, I would honestly recommend getting rid of them and investing in these, because these are gonna last you a long time and they're gonna help you reach that next level of speed. But if you guys have any questions about them, go ahead and drop them down in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer. I'll link the website down below as well if you guys wanna check these out. But I really appreciate you guys for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.